Every brand and their dog wants to be like Corteiz, but few understand the strategy that has allowed them to build the community that they have. In this video, I'm going to be lifting the curtain on their 1.3 million follower private Instagram page. That's all coming up. I'm Elijah Delport, and this is Brand Breakdown, where we are analyzing content strategies of great clothing brands so that you can improve your own. In this video, we're going to be looking at 3 videos from the CORTEIZ Instagram page, one of which is a short film. Another one is how they use storytelling and combine it with product promotions. But first, influencer marketing. How does CORTEIZ build a strong brand by collaborating with London rap artists like Giggs? Have a look at the video and then I'm going to be analyzing it in a moment.
So this is where you shop?
No, that's where I read.
I've got mad stories here. I got nicked here, went to jail, everything. I got nicked with a strap. Tried to hide in that building. Sent the dogs in. All that.
Yeah. He was on Talking the Hardest. It was me and him on Talking the Hardest, but because I wrote it till there's no beat left, there's no space for him. I think he's even got a version. I swear down. I remember I walked out the block, bare feds jumped out. I tried to dash the strap, run down there. I had the strap and the extra clip. Just got shot in my leg, so I was moving on mad power. I tried to dash the clip and the strap. Didn't work, man. That was it, straight to jail. But yeah, just in case you never got it, this is where Talking the Hardest was created, you get me? In this block right here, get the block.
Crazy video, right? Nothing to do with the clothing product, but everything to do with the brand identity. So let's start there. What is the CORTEIZ brand identity? Well, they have this catchphrase, you probably heard it, CORTEIZ rules the world. And the way I see it, it represents a message of rebellion, defiance, the hood culture of London, crime, anti-establishment, and especially elevating low socioeconomic minorities. And this is in a world where all clothing brands, well, not all, but many clothing brands are representing status. They say, look at how much money we have, we drive fast cars, we wear nice jewelry. And now CORTEIZ is saying, well, this is a clothing brand elevating people that come from hardship, that come from low socioeconomic areas in the hood culture, especially in London. So this is their brand identity, and how do they represent it? Well, first and foremost, through their content. The brand is the association of 2 or more things. And so in order to create this brand, they associate it with figures or known figures in hood culture. In this example, it's the grime rapper Giggs. Now, grime is like drill from the UK, but it's like gangster rap. Giggs is a known grime artist, and according to a lot of the lyrics in his music, he's someone that has had a tough upbringing. He's been through the criminal system, he's been incarcerated, he's been involved with criminal activity, even a gang in London at one point. And so this is allegedly, again, according to his lyrics. And so what's CORTEIZ doing? They're taking their product that doesn't have any meaning in and of itself. They put it on someone that represents a particular identity and lifestyle, and by proxy, they associate their product with that lifestyle and that brand identity. This is how you build a brand. It's by association. What already holds that brand identity? How can you attach your brand to that thing? And what are they talking about in this video? Well, Giggs and the lifestyle that he lives, some of his criminal activity, he pretty well exposes himself. He's talking about making music, some of the albums and songs that established his career, and his life in London, you know, doing everyday things like walking the dog. What they're doing is they're creating a character associating with the brand that other people can relate with, and that other people want to be like. When they, you know, see this person, when they see Giggs, they go, okay, I want to be like him, so I'm going to wear the CORTEIZ brand as well. Well, this brings us to the question, how can you make this for your brand? I want you to ask yourself, who are the individuals that embody my brand identity? Get really specific about who they are and why they align with your brand. And now what I want you to do is interview them in their natural habitat. Now, what is their natural habitat? Well, that depends on whatever your brand identity is. So for example, music makers make music. Their natural habitat is in the studio. Skaters skate. It's going to be at the skate park. Or outdoor people hike. It's going to be in the environment. Go to that place, follow them around with the camera, and ask them questions while they're doing exactly what they're built to do. Now, let's imagine a version of CORTEIZ where they don't have so much money, they can't work with influencers like gigs. How would I do it in this position? Well, very simply, I'd start again with the brand identity. It's London street culture. And then I'd break that down. What are the elements or the people that represent that idea? Well, for example, a basketball or football, I think that could be a part of it. And so I would find someone who frequently plays basketball or football, and I'd follow them to practice, and I'd ask them questions, and I'd film them playing. I'd give them my garment, and then I'd follow them home. You know, like these things, like the typical London lifestyle. Or another one, a London street photographer. This is another way. This is another type of person that represents the hood London culture. Or finally, a street rapper or a DJ. Who's someone that I could find busking, and I could make a video about them? I could simply ask them. Could I follow them the next weekend to their setup and see, you know, all I'm asking myself is who are the people that are associated with London street culture or whatever my brand identity is, and how can I create content about them? In this next video that we're going to be analyzing, CORTEIZ creates a short film about the aspirational identity. Who do you become when you wear the CORTEIZ garments? Let's have a look now, and I'm going to be analyzing it in a moment.
Big freeze. C'est comment? C'est comment? Ouais. Ça dit quoi? Vas-y. Dégage. Vas-y, dégage. Vas-y, ça me saoule. Putain. Faites-nous. Putain. C'est quoi là? Vas-y, lâche ça.
And that, my friends, is what I call a fashion film. If you didn't get it, here's what happened. A guy goes up to the group and they don't accept him, probably because of how he looks or who he is. And so he goes home, he's disappointed, he puts on the CORTEIZ garment and he becomes a different kind of person. He almost begins dreaming, but he's committing all types of crime. He's confident, he's charismatic, he doesn't care. And then he wakes up and realizes that the reason he becomes this person is because of what he's wearing. Fantastic short film. I love the story, and it teaches us something about marketing. It's that people won't remember your garments. However, they will remember the story. Stories stick with you, and that's what we're able to tell. That's what we're able to recall. Less details and more the conflict and the resolution. So if and when you can, tell stories through your video campaigns. Now, let's get into some of the details of this video campaign and this story. What they're doing is showing you the identity of someone when they put on the CORTEIZ garment. This is what I like to call an aspirational identity, or maybe the transformation that your brand brings to the life of your most loyal customers. And so we're asking the question, is there a clear before and after to the people that your customers become when they wear your garments. In the case of CORTEIZ, the before is lonely, doubtful, dependent. And this was the case with the boy in the beginning of the film being rejected. And then what happens after? He puts on the garment and he becomes reckless, confident. He has a who cares attitude. And there is an adrenaline, he's a sort of an adrenaline junkie, just doing crazy stuff. They're showing exactly who you become when you put on the CORTEIZ garment. And if that's someone that you wish to become, then that garment is going to become more desirable to you. Not just because it looks nice or because it has great design or material qualities, but because it represents the person that you want to be transformed into. So have a think to yourself. Ask, who do my customers become when they put on my brand? If you can answer that question, show it through the stories that you tell and the content that you are sharing with the world. And part of your role as a clothing brand is to get your customers from where they are to who they aspire to be. Now, as we've been speaking about, one way you can do that is through the clothing product. And that's when the product becomes a sort of uniform for an identity. Just as when I put on a military uniform, let's say, I become a part of the army for my nation. When they put on your clothing brand, they represent an identity that may or may not be who they are now, but rather who they are becoming. That's one way, but before you even get there, you have to give the garment the meaning. And the way that you can do that is through your content. Think about it as almost a resource. How can your Instagram page become a resource for someone to become who they want to be? When I say this, I'm thinking about two main things: education and inspiration. How can I educate my customers in transformation? And how can I inspire them to take action and see that transformation? In this way, customers are going to have a much deeper connection with you and your brand, because they're not just buying because of logic anymore, they're buying because of identity. And that is a much stronger pull. That is reason and cause for them to spend a lot more money with you than they would otherwise. The final piece of content we're going to be looking at is another storytelling campaign, and it's so funny and so relatable, and it really reveals how you can build a lot of interest around your clothing campaigns. But before we look at that, here's a quick break. I'll be back in just a moment. I believe community is the X factor in any brand that's seen any kind of success. It's the very thing that's going to take your clothing brand from here to up here. And so I did the most logical thing. I created a community of my own of brand owners who are building their own communities. Look, it's totally free to join, and I promise being in a group of other passionate brand owners who are going to keep you accountable, who you can ask questions to, who are going to give you advice, is the very thing that's going to help you take it to the next level, especially when we're working with small teams. When you probably can't afford to have a whole room of creatives around you, well, here it is, for free. There's a link in the description that you can use to join right now. I can't wait for you to get this value. I'll see you on the other side. But for now, back to the video.
Ladies and gentlemen.
London, England, home of the wheelers and dealers. Here's Harry, also known as the infamous Stardog 1998 on Depop. Moved down here about a year ago from an estate. It's not the kind of estate you're thinking of.
This guy just got bumped, fam. We're definitely making it out of the hood.
He only uses this old piece of shit for Depop and Pornhub. Typical scumbag behaviour. Right on time. Oh no, it seems like soppy little Harry's got himself into a bit of a pickle.
Stardog 1998.
Here we go.
Yo, boss, can I get some Rizla, please?
Moral of the story, don't be an Harry. Don't get your front door booted in. CORTEIZ rules the fucking world.
Moral of the story, don't be a Harry. How are they using storytelling here? Well, some of the integral elements, I believe, of a story are conflict and resolution and characters. First, let's focus on characters. Well, you've got Harry, who we're first presented with, who's the antagonist of this story. A bit of a flip. Usually we see the protagonist first, the good guys, but instead we see the bad guy. How do we know he's the bad guy? Well, he kind of represents a bit of a bum. Someone that CORTEIZ customers don't really want to be. And that's why we are rooting for the robbers when they knock on his door and take off with the sold out piece. And this brings me to the conflict and resolution. The conflict, it's sold out, and the resolution, the robbers come and they avenge the sold out garments. It's funny, it's relatable, and CORTEIZ customers get it because most likely they've probably missed out on a drop, seen it's been sold out, they get it. And in reference to the previous pieces of content that we've been looking at, the robbers represent the aspirational identity of the customers. They are a display of the crime culture, or the hood of London, and the desirability of the garments as well. These are all things that are true for CORTEIZ customers. And so when we see them, we want to be like them. And when they wear the CORTEIZ garments, it says to us that if we wear them as well, that is what we're going to be represented at. All in all, this story is just a fun campaign. It makes you laugh. It'll make you share it with a friend. And it brings me to my point that people buy because of emotion and justify with logic. This makes them excited about the clothing campaign. It keeps it front of mind, again, a story as something that we'll remember. And then what do they do? On top of a fun and comedic video campaign like this, that I might share with a friend, they also post lookbooks and the model shoots and all the things necessary to justify the logic inside of me when I'm going to buy that this is a well-designed garment that has a good material quality. Now, most brands just skip to the logic. Let me post the product photos and let me show you that it's well-designed and that it has some cool features and it's high GSM. But that's probably also why there's no demand around your products. It's because that's not a market differentiation. All clothing brands pretty well can create high quality products now, and so you need to show us why we should really care. Give us something to relate to, something to get excited for, something to laugh at, and something especially that's related to a brand identity that I want to be a part of and I want to be transformed by. That's what CORTEIZ is doing with this video campaign, and they later on, only later on, back it up with model photos and flat lays and all of these kinds of things. Thanks for watching this video on CORTEIZ. Before you go, I've got a quick question for you. Is it ethical? I want you to start a conversation down in the comments section and tell me, do you think selling this lifestyle of crime and rebellion and recklessness is an ethical way to run a clothing brand and build a community? It's clearly working. They're clearly building a community, but is it right? I'm not so sure about it. Let's chat. And before you go, don't forget to check out the link in the description to join a community of brand owners. It is rapidly growing, and inside I have a free streetwear marketing course. It's all there for you to access. Just click the link, press join group, and you're in. I'm Elijah Delport. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you for another brand breakdown. Here it is on screen. Click it now.